No. Hi! Welcome to this League of Legends Noob Guide, a guide for noobs about League of Legends, by a very good League of Legends player. Me! FUCK! So, after wasting my time for 1489 hours, what the actual f***, I decided to teach you how to play League of Legends. This is a huge mistake. The tutorial is the first thing you will encounter when opening up the client for the first time. Though it's completely useless and teaches you the game absolutely wrong, there is no option to avoid it. You get currency by leveling up and selling champion shards that you get out of capsules. These shards can also be used to reduce the price on a matching champion. That being said, if you ever get your hands on the Teemo champion shard, I recommend you throw it in the dumpster and light it on fire, as playing this champion makes you objectively a bad person. Last but not least, the play button, which gives you access to multiple lobbies that you can play in League of Legends. The practice tool lets you practice micro skills pretty easily by giving you the option to reduce the cooldown timers to 0 and more. While this mode is used more often to joke around and show off one's artistical skills, its main purpose is to fail until success, which can take its time. FUCK! Another thing that you can find in the training tab is the tutorial, which, if you ever find yourself replaying it, makes you, by definition, a sociopath. Next up is Co-op vs AI, which is the perfect mode to practice your skills before joining PvP. If you're able to beat the highest difficulty AI consistently, you are already better than 99% of the Iron players and you should be off fine starting PvP. Last but not least, of course, the most important part about League of Legends, which is PvP. The game lets you choose between 4 lobbies, with one of them being Blind Pick, which is a lobby that functions completely different from all the others. You pick your lane by writing it first into the lobby chat. If your lane is already taken, you of course have to choose another one. Or you can just be an asshole. The more mainstream variant is Draft Pick, in which you can choose your lane beforehand. When you join the lobby, you have the chance to ban out one champion, and also you pick in an order. There's a slight chance of you getting autofilled, in which case the system picks a lane for you. When this happens, it's very unlikely that you get to play a lane that you actually wanna play. That being said, after being through the autofilled game, it's very unlikely that you get autofilled again, so just play and get it over with. Or just be a huge dick about it. Finally, the 2 ranked modes. Anytime you win a ranked game in either mode, you gain LP. If you win enough games, you get promoted into a higher elo, with the lowest being Iron and the highest being Challenger. Of course, as it is with every competitive game, you need to be absolutely terrified about what will happen to your family when you misplay. As for the modes, you might have guessed that there are 2 different ranked systems. Solo duo queue can be played alone or with a friend, while flex queue can be played with 1, 2, 3 or 5 players. Because fuck people who have exactly 3 friends online. After choosing a role champion and getting through the lobby, you will finally join a game. This is the loading screen, in which you will be stuck in for however long it takes everyone to load in. In the meantime, you can click on the champion cards to flip them and see how much mastery points the players have, which indicates how often they play that champion. Holy fuck! When your champions get teleported into the rift, you can start playing. You have 3 lanes, 1 jungle, 5 vs 5 players each game. The standard team composition consists of a top laner, a jungler, a mid laner, an AD carry and a support. For some reason, Riot decided to make the jungle necessary spell called Smite a summoner level 9 spell, which means that you might play with 2 players top lane instead. The game features about 150 champions who have all different roles and playstyles. It's impossible to know every ability from the get-go, so just pick a lane, a champion, and test them out.
Defeat.
There's a weekly champion rotation which usually offers you about 15 champions for free, with at least 1 or 2 for every role. Before explaining how the game actually works, let's first look at some useful key bindings that Riot doesn't tell you about for whatever reason. These might not even be known by some more experienced players. The first step is to activate quick cast on all your abilities with this button. This makes it so that you don't have to press the key and left click every time with every skill shot. Now it just gets casted right away. If you still want to see the hitbox of your ability, change it here in the key bindings. Instead of using shift plus the ability key for quick cast, you should rather use the same combination for normal cast. Next, the F keys, which are useful for camera control. The standard configuration is to have yourself on F1 and the other players on F2 to F5. This is rather uncomfortable, as your thumb should biologically be shorter than all the others, which makes it harder to reach the F5 key. The game has an option to focus the camera on yourself by pressing space. This means that you actually don't need to use the 5 F keys and can just delete the F1 key for yourself and use F1 to F4 for all the other players. If you get used to this quickly, it will help you win games for sure later on. Now the attack move, which is probably the most important keybind to know about. When you press A plus left click, your champion will start attacking the target nearest to where you clicked. This is especially useful for ranged champions, as it's not always easy to kite without knowing this. You would need to perfectly aim your mouse on the enemy champion as to not accidentally walk into their direction because you clicked on the ground. Shift right click or A left click do both the same, so choose whichever fits best for you. Finally, the attack champion's only button. Did you ever miss someone in a crowded minion wave or because they hid behind a turret? Fuck! No! Fuck! Well, that's a problem of the past, because with the attack champion's only button you will never be able to attack anything but champions with your auto attack again. I recommend putting it on T. There's also an option to use it as a tackle in the game options if you want that. Last but not least, some useful options that aren't on by default. First of all, show timestamps, which lets you keep track of what happened when in chat. Next up we have the mana option. This lets you immediately see how much mana each ability costs. I also recommend to not auto attack by default, as this might lead to some unwanted attention on yourself. Now that we're finished with the key bindings, we can get into the actual mechanics of the game. After about 1.5 minutes the minions will start spawning. Minions are basically money bags that you can kill to get gold from them. It's important that you actually last hit the minion, or else you will not get any gold. 3 minion waves equal about 1 kill in gold, which means that you actually want to last hit them in order to get your items quicker. Enemy minions will attack you as soon as you attack their champion. Especially at the beginning the minions really hurt, so make sure that you don't fight in an enemy minion wave or else you will be screwed over in no time. Next, let's talk about the 11 turrets that each team has. Every turret functions pretty similar, with the only exception being the auto turrets. Turrets are a defensive mechanism that's supposed to help you, meaning that if you try to kill somebody over and over again under their own turret, the turrets are gonna fucking murder you. What the fuck? Auto turrets have something called turret platings. Each time you destroy a turret plating you gain 160 gold, but also the turret gains a lot more armor and magic resist. They also gain resistancies depending on how many enemy champions are standing around it. Another defensive bonus that every turret has is that they gain a lot more resistancies as soon as no enemy minions are around it. This of course means that it would take about half an hour to destroy an outer turret with 1 turret plating, 5 champions around it and no minions. The outer turrets lose their buffs at minute 14. This means that you can't get any more turret plating gold, but also means that you can destroy the turret much more easily. Fuck. When 3 turrets of a lane get destroyed, the inhibitor will become accessible. When an enemy inhibitor gets destroyed, your nexus will start spawning super minions. Super minions are an important siege tool and can hit like a fucking sledgehammer. Behind the inhibitor there are 2 more turrets and a nexus, and if you destroy that, well... you win. That's about everything you need to know for the start about lanes in League of Legends. Next, let's get into the jungle of League of Legends. Many factors play into the role of a good jungler, such as ganking, farming, counter jungling, counter ganking, and much more. For that very reason I will only talk about jungle monsters and farming at the start of the game. The jungle consists of 6 neutral monster camps on each side. Additionally, there are 2 epic monster camps that you can find in the river. The 6 neutral monster camps are the red buff, golems, raptors, wolves, gromp, and blue buff. The most important of those are the blue buff and the red buff, as they're not only giving you gold and experience, but also give you buffs that you can use to help your teammates or yourself. On your very first camp, a teammate should always be there to help you, which is called a leash. If they don't react, you can always try to ask them nicely. Most junglers are fine doing it on their own, only point being that it takes a lot less time and HP doing it with help. Now I'm gonna show you what a pretty basic level 3 jungle route looks like. For a basic level 3 jungle route you should always include the 2 buffs with the golems or the gromp, as these gives you the most experience by far. A route like this is especially useful for junglers who want to gank pretty early. Some junglers however want to clear the entire jungle before ganking, as they need the experience or gold to be efficient. Besides clearing the jungle and ganking, the jungler's job is also to clear objectives. Objectives are things like turrets and inhibitors, but also the epic monsters that you can find in the river. The Herald is an epic monster that spawns around minute 8 in the topside river and has the same impact on turrets that the USA had on Hiroshima. The Herald has a weak spot on its back, which makes it pretty easy to kill for every champion. Another epic monster that spawns around minute 5 in the bottom side river is one of the elemental dragons. Defeating one of them will give your entire team a unique buff. After defeating the second dragon, the entire rift will change into the territory of the third dragon. After this happens, the only type of dragon that will spawn is the third type of dragon. When one team defeats 4 dragons, they will get a Dragon Soul. The Dragon Soul is an immense power up and a huge advantage for the team that got it. When a Dragon Soul is claimed, the Elder Dragon will start spawning instead of the elemental dragons. The buff your entire team gets from killing the Elder Dragon is probably the strongest in the entire game. Not only will the Elder Drake buff give you a damage over time effect on your attacks, but also execute any enemy that you attacked in the last few seconds at 20% of max HP. You can get a buff of comparable strength in the topside river after minute 20 from the Baron. The Baron buff will give you some extra attack or ability damage and will also power up your minions. This will make them almost immune to any magical damage they get and also evolves them into a great siege tool. Finally, don't forget to bring Smite and buy one of these items. These are absolutely crucial things that you need for the jungle. This should be about everything you need to know as a beginner in League of Legends. I know that I haven't actually talked about anything that lets you win a game in League of Legends. For now, just try out some new champions and have fun with the game, as this will stop very soon when you get competitive. The most important thing in all of League of Legends is probably still to know about every single champion's abilities. Anyways, I hope you had fun watching the video. As I looked at my analytics, I realized that 0% of you are subscribed to my channel, which could also be the case because this is my first video on this channel. Thanks for watching, bye.